Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is my January 2025 bullet journal setup. I can't believe we're already making the first monthly setup of 2025. That is so crazy to me because that means that I've been doing this channel for 2 years and this will be my 3rd year of this channel and my 4th year of bullet journaling. So this is my 4th year making monthly setups in my bullet journal. And this year, if you saw my 2025 bullet journal setup, you saw that I made a sort of scrapbook theme, and I wanted to continue that for January, even if I don't continue it all year. I also combined this yellow scrapbook theme with a stars theme. So if you didn't want to make a scrapbook theme in your bullet journal, you could just do the stars doodle. And I decided to cut out all my headings this month just to add another layer of scrapbook kind of style to the spreads because just writing it would look a little weird. So I'm starting out by making my cover page, and I covered both of the opposite corners there with some scrapbook papers, and then in the middle I'm going to make a little background for the heading using a bunch of yellow and brown papers because that is the color scheme for this month. I'm not really sure why I chose yellow, but I did want to make stars, so I was like, okay, well, yellow, and I guess brown looks good with that, so that's how we ended up here. And I do have a few washi tapes that I will be using throughout this setup, but I don't use them that much because I think the scrapbook sort of vibe as the focal point is nice. I did use that one sticker for the setup, but I didn't use any other stickers because I don't have a lot of yellow stationery. It's just not a color that I feel drawn to. So using it for the setup was a little bit interesting for me because yellow is not my favorite color. I would say like a nice gold is good, so I lean towards that sort of color. But as you can see, I went back to add a few stars, and I decided to freehand them, even though I know they're not going to look like that nice. But I think it adds a little bit of charm to it. And on the opposite side, I've just made a little vision board section and a goals section. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the vision board section all year, but I decided it would just be nice to at least start by making monthly vision boards in my bullet journal. And I might end up moving them to my life journal or something, so we'll see. And now we're moving on to my monthly calendar. This is a spread that I will never not make in my journals. It's really helpful, a nice monthly overview, and I add literally everything there. I add video releases. If I have like a specific filming schedule for the month, I'll add it. I add events, I add birthdays, I add school deadlines, literally everything. So this is a staple in my monthly setup, and if you've been watching my channel for any number of months and you've seen a monthly setup before, you know that last year I kept it pretty simple. I just made a cover page, and then on the opposite side there were goals, a calendar. Habit trackers went with my goals because I was only tracking 4 habits last year. And I also made a gratitude page and then just my weeklies. But this year I wanted to expand the number of pages that I use because I really want to start tracking a few more things. So you'll see in a couple minutes what my new spreads are for this year. And I'm hoping to make them every month, so it might get a little repetitive again, but each theme will be different, so hopefully you don't find it too boring to watch that each month. And now I'm adding the star doodles. I just added them randomly, and I think they turned out pretty well. I like when they cover the scrapbook paper a little bit because it just really makes it feel like all integrated. And I was thinking whether I should color in the stars, but I think leaving them just a black outline looks better than it would if I colored them in, especially when they're overlapping with the paper. So I'm gonna leave them like this. And now we're moving on to my habit tracker spread. This year I want to track 6 habits and 3 weekly habits. or at least that's how I'm going to start the year. I might change up which habits I'm tracking or the number of habits that I'm tracking at some point this year, but for now I'm going to be tracking 6 habits and 3 weekly habits, or 6 daily habits and 3 weekly habits. So I need a full page for all of those trackers instead of just mixing them in with my goal page like I did last year. The reason I did that last year was to come back and look at my cover page a little bit, like, more often than I would if my, like, tracker pages were separate. But I think going back to look at my goals or, like, my vision board, I will probably do it a couple times a month, so hopefully that works out. And now I'm cutting out the title, and the habits that I will be tracking are flossing, drinking 32 ounces of water, daily logging, less than 6 hours of screen time, movement, and stretching. So movement would be just like walking for probably more than like 10 minutes, like doing a yoga, doing, I don't even know, like workout, something like that. And stretching would be not yoga, but just like doing some sort of stretching routine. And my weekly habits are to reset, like do a weekly reset, make a life journal spread, or like at least one per week, and clean my room. And now I'm just adding the stars to fill the empty space at the bottom and at the top. And now we're done my habit tracker spreads. Let's move on to my sleep tracker, which is a new spread. This year, however, I have done them in the past in my 2022 journals, and I think I started out doing them in 2023, but I don't remember. So basically, I just wanted to get a bigger insight into my sleep every night, because I do have a sort of sleep hours overview in my Pixel trackers, but I wanted to make some monthly trackers as well, just to go a little bit more in depth and see like some patterns, or like if I'm sleeping more on weekends or weekdays. I know it's weekends, but, or like seeing if my bedtime like kind of drifts as the month goes on, or it gets earlier. So I'm just going to see if the pattern will work for me. And this is a familiar spread. This is my gratitude log. Every day I try to write down something I'm grateful for. And this year I'm actually going to write down like one thing every week that I'm grateful for and put it in a jar, like write it down on a slip of paper and put it in a jar, so then at the end of the year I can see 52 things that I was grateful for, or like was the highlight of my week, kind of. I was considering doing it every day, but I feel like having 365 things in a jar might not work very well. So we're just gonna do weekly and see how it goes. But I got that idea off Pinterest, so I have no idea who's the original person of it. But I just added my stars to the top and bottom, and now we're moving on to my second new spread, and the last like tracking spread, or like monthly spread of this video. So these are my trackers and my monthly plan. So I've decided to start tracking a couple of random things, just to see how they correlate. So we have productivity, energy, and anxiety, and I'm just going to make a like sort of line for each of them, and we're going to see how they correlate. I was thinking I would put them on the same page as my sleep tracker, but it didn't work out like that this month, so I'll see if that would work better for February, and we will switch it up if it needs to be switched. And the plan is just to write down anything that I want to do that month, or like make random to-do lists, write down things that I need to remember, literally anything. But I will probably fill that in the beginning of the month and then update it throughout the month. And now we're moving on to my first weekly spread of this year for week 1. And I just made a little scrapbook section, and then I'm going to cut out week 1 and put it there. But if you were watching my monthly setups last year, you'll know that this weekly spread looks a little bit different than I have been doing. I'm going to try a rolling weekly, for my tasks because I do tend to not do some of the things that I say I'm going to do, and then I'm just constantly moving them over. So I'm going to see if this works better. I have used a rolling weekly in the past, but I'm just going to see how this works for me at this point. And if I need to go back to my old weekly setups, I will. As you can see, I messed up a little bit and I put the down line on the wrong section. Just so I'm making this grid just so it's easier to see where the tasks are and like which task the lines are correlated to. But now I'm adding the stars and the sparkles, and now it is time for a final flip through. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm hoping to show me like making my vision board and goals and filling this all in my January reset, which will be out in 1 week. And that will be the last video of the year, so I hope that you're excited. But let me know if you liked my spreads or liked my theme and what you'd like to see in the new year for videos, or like what you'd like me to change in these monthly setups. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the spreads, I hope you liked the theme, and I hope you liked the first setup video of 2025. But yeah, that brings us to the end of this video. Like, subscribe, and comment if you want to. And I will see you on Wednesday for my 2024 reading wrap-up and 2025 reading plans. Thank you so much for watching again. Bye.